Games that you can play with your friends are some of the best games out there since you can share the experience with them. The only thing stopping people from playing games like this is usually the issue of games costing too much money. Not a lot of people can afford the big AAA games that come out every year, so we can help you with that. All the games in this list are ones that you can play with your friends and don't require you to put a single penny in to play. Here are 10 amazing free multiplayer games you can play on Steam. Deceit 2 is the sequel to one of the most unique games out there. If you aren't familiar with the first game, it's a social deduction game very similar to something like Among Us, but it's very different in terms of gameplay. There are 3 roles you are randomly chosen for in each match: innocent, infected, or cursed. The innocent are supposed to go around the map and complete tasks. It is up to them to watch the other people and look for suspicious behavior that will give away the other people's roles. They need to get the key and try to escape. The infected are there to try and kill all the other players, but they can't give away that they are infected. You need to make it look like you are following the other players and what they are doing. The cursed are an in-between role that are supposed to take out both the infected and innocent, and it is up to you to use your curse to your advantage and take out the other players. With all these roles working at the same time, it makes the gameplay pretty interesting. If you enjoy social deduction games, you will really enjoy this one. Real Pool 3D Poolians is by far the best pool game you can play on PC. We have searched and searched for a better version of Pool out there, but Poolians is the best version we've ever played. The gameplay is satisfying and there isn't a ton of clutter in the menus. You can get in and out, and it is extremely easy to play a game with your friends. Plus, it's extremely easy to run, so even potato PCs can run it. You can play against bots as well if you don't have anyone to play with, and they don't require you to pay a single dime to play it. We have put dozens and dozens of hours into this game, and we don't regret it one bit. If you are jonesing for a game of pool, but you don't want to deal with the other garbage pool games that limit you, then Poolians is by far the best choice for you. Frag Surf is a nod to surfing from Counter-Strike. It's a PvP game that has you surfing, bunny hopping, and strafing to eliminate your enemies. It's a very unique game that's actually very satisfying once you get the hang of it. There are also a ton of game modes to play that will have you versing a ton of people. You can do team deathmatches, surf races, or anything you can think of. The selling point of the game is that there's Steam Workshop. When a game has workshop support, then the life of the game gets increased by a lot. Not only can people create maps and weapons for the game, they can also create new game modes and all types of cool stuff. If you enjoy FPS games with a bit of a twist, then you will really enjoy this one. Just make sure not to play too sweaty because your friends will end up hating you. Torchlight Infinite is a top-down hack-and-slash looter shooter. Yes, that was a mouthful, but believe us when we say that this game is fun. There are a bunch of heroes to choose from, and it is up to you to build your character into one that will absolutely destroy every enemy they come in contact with. Not only are there a bunch of heroes, but there are hundreds of weapons, skills, and playstyles to enjoy. There's also an in-game market that you can buy and sell all sorts of gear that can help you make your build that much more powerful. The graphic style is extremely unique and is worth playing the game for it as well. If you enjoy looter shooter type games like us, then you will really enjoy this one. It is totally free and worth your time. Predecessor is a MOBA that has you taking on the role of a paragon. Keep in mind that this game is not like other MOBAs because it feels more like an Overwatch clone than a MOBA clone. Yes, Overwatch is technically considered a MOBA, but what most people consider it is a hero shooter, which is what we consider Predecessor as well. It is very similar to the new Marvel Rivals game that's coming out, and it's pretty fun for what the game is. We aren't huge fans of this genre of game, but from what we played of it, it's pretty fun. There are more than 30 heroes to choose from, and each are extremely unique. It's up to you to try them out and figure out which ones you prefer. The game feels like if you mix Overwatch with League of Legends, and that's not a bad thing. If you enjoy MOBA games like this one, go check this game out for yourself. Multiverses is the best Super Smash Bros. Alternative you could play on PC. Not only is it on PC, but it also is on consoles as well. It is basically Super Smash Bros., but it's all Warner Brothers properties like Looney Tunes, DC Superheroes, and a ton of other great franchises. The graphic style is very cartoony compared to Smash Bros., but that's what sets it apart. The game is free to play, so that means that there is an in-game store that you can spend real money, but you don't have to spend a single dime to play. Yes, the characters take a bit of a grind to get to if you are a free-to-play player. That's what makes the game fun. If you haven't tried Multiverses yet, and you have been looking for a Smash Bros. Alternative, then it is definitely worth checking out. Just make sure you watch out for those sweaty players if you start fighting real opponents and not the single-player fights. Palia is one of the most polished and complete open-world survival crafting games you can play that doesn't require any money to play. It's like if you made a 3D game that took inspirations from Stardew Valley, Minecraft, and a ton of other survival games in this genre. It's a very relaxing experience that you and a bunch of other friends can enjoy together. You live off the land by catching fish, insects, and animals, and you can also explore a pretty big game world. Build a base that will allow you to relax, and choose from hundreds of customizable items to build up your home. There's also a story to the game world that will have you and your friends curious about what happens. If you are looking for a survival game that you can play with your friends, then you should definitely check this one out. You won't be disappointed at all with the game. Dungeonborn is a Dark and Darker clone that's actually doing pretty well. There is actually drama between the Dark and Darker community and this game because it does such a good job at replicating what makes the genre fun. We personally enjoy Dungeonborn more than Dark and Darker because it's more beginner friendly and easier to understand. If you don't know what either game is, they are fantasy extraction games. You go into a fantasy world and it's up to you to loot as much stuff as possible. Keep in mind that there are a ton of things trying to kill you, like monsters, undead, and even other players. It is up to you to try and survive with all your stuff, so you have more equipment to go in with later on. It's a really cool genre and is totally worth playing if you enjoy extraction games. The graphics game is also another reason to try the game out. Once Human is one of those games that's hit or miss with a lot of players. For us, we are kind of in the middle. It is a new survival game that has you exploring a world that has been infested with monsters. An apocalypse had turned the world upside down, and there are a ton of terrifying creatures lurking everywhere. You will need to keep yourself hydrated and fed with food to survive. You will follow a story that will have you fighting big bosses and a ton of enemies. The gameplay itself is very fun, but the reason we are in the middle is because the game gets a bit boring at times. Yes, some people enjoy the building aspects of the game, but the story isn't super great, so it's not something that you play the game for. We do have to say that the combat and the gameplay is very fun though, so it does have that going for it. The game also has a massive player count that doesn't seem to be dwindling. If you enjoy open world survival games with combat as the main focus, then this is a great one to check out. The First Descendant is one of those games that came out of nowhere for us. We are huge fans of the looter shooter genre, so this game is right up our alley. Games like Borderlands, Destiny, Outriders, Warframe, and a ton of others like it are some of our most addicting games to us, so we really enjoy this type of game. Yes, it does have some fan service since the game was made by a developer from South Korea, but the gameplay itself makes up for it. One gripe people have with the game is that it's too grindy, but they don't understand that the gameplay is the grind. You grind something to be able to grind something else, and that's just how these games work. If you don't like that type of mechanic, then these games aren't for you. There is some optimization issues at times because of the multiple anti-cheat softwares that developers put into the game, but other than that, the game is amazing. If you enjoy looter shooters, then this one is definitely worth your time. If you found a game that you really liked from this list, let us know down in the comment sections which game you liked the most. Also, consider subscribing if you enjoy our content. We also have a bunch of new merch designs on our website that's based on some of our favorite video games. Make sure to check out our podcast where we talk about anything video games, and our Discord server where we keep up with the community. All links are in the description, and thanks for watching.